Welcome back to our ISI video channel where we discuss various topics related to international students and their health insurance needs. Maybe you have insurance all figured out, but what about your dependents? We are here today with ISI's insurance expert, Antonio Zapata, who will discuss the various avenues of insurance options available for dependents and what plans will work best. Antonio, thank you so much again for joining us all the way from our Mexico City office. How's everything going down there?
Well, hello, Sally. Everything is going well.
Can you start us off by telling us some different ways dependents can obtain insurance if they're coming to the United States?
So actually, there are a few ways in which they could get insurance. They may be able to get on their spouse's plan if their spouse has insurance through their U.S. employer or their school. But also, if their spouse gets a private insurance plan, they may be able to include their dependents on the policy, or dependents can just purchase a plan on their own if they are eligible for it.
Sounds like there are a couple of different options available. Are there some advantages or disadvantages in terms of enrolling in a plan with your spouse?
There are both advantages and disadvantages to enrolling on a plan with your spouse. For example, one advantage is that you can familiarize yourself just with one plan for the entire family. So basically, it will be easier to navigate the insurance because they will have the same benefits, they can visit the same doctors, so they don't really have to figure out where to go, They can just use the same plan. Now, it could also be cheaper to be included in your spouse's plan. If they have insurance through their employer or their school, they might have this option, and this might be a bit cheaper, of course, depending on the plan. Now, those will be the advantages that I would like to highlight, but also there are a few disadvantages to being on the same plan. For example, maybe the dependent doesn't really need that much coverage. Let's say that J1 visa holder or, the F1, they have a very comprehensive plan and maybe the dependent doesn't really need those benefits. So, it would make more sense to just purchase a plan that suits dependents' needs better. Maybe the dependent will only be in the US for a short period of time, or maybe they have already taken care of their medical needs back home. So they wouldn't really need a very comprehensive plan. So in that sense, maybe enrolling in the same plan might be a disadvantage depending on the case.
When it comes to, you said F1 visa holders, J1 visa holders, what about J2 visa holders? Do they need to meet the same requirements that J1 visa holders do?
Yes, they do. J2 visa holders also need to comply with all of the requirements set by the US Embassy. That will be at least $100,000 for medical expenses. But they will also need to have a deductible that is no greater than $500. They will also need to have coverage for medical evacuation of at least $50,000 and $25,000 for repatriation. So basically, the J2 dependents will need to meet the same requirements as the J1 visa holders. Now, for this type of visa, for J1 or J2 visa holders, we usually recommend our Atlas Travel or our Patriot Travel plans to cover them for new eligible illnesses and injuries that occur outside of their home country. We also offer a couple of major medical insurance plans or basically anyone outside of their country of residence that need more comprehensive coverage or that maybe need a few other benefits. Maybe if they're looking for wellness or just a more comprehensive plan in general. We also offer major medical plans for those cases.
Like you said, J2 dependents still need to meet those same requirements that their spouse does as a J1 visa holder, but maybe they don't need to enroll on that comprehensive plan that is potentially being offered by the school or the employer. So they could just go ahead and purchase something that's going to just meet those basic requirements by the Department of State, which is, like you said, our Patriot travel plan or Atlas travel plan could be good options. And then maybe if they're not being offered to enroll in their partner's plan, they could just go ahead and grab something like a major medical plan that could cover something a bit more comprehensive, maternity, mental health. There's so many different plan options available for those dependents, even without their spouse. What if you're in a situation where a dependent is a US citizen, so for example, maybe family, parents are from another country, they come to the United States, they have a baby here, are they able to enroll on their parents' plan, or how does it work for US citizens?
Personally, a dependent who is a US citizen will not be eligible for our international plans because these plans do not provide coverage within the participant's home country. And even though the parents may be citizens of a different country and their home country is not the US, they will need to find a different way to enroll in insurance. Unfortunately, if the parents have, let's say, an international policy, the dependent will not be eligible for that. Basically, the dependent will need to have a domestic insurance policy, which can be obtained through the US marketplace, or they can also look for other insurance options available to US citizens. Also, US citizens, in some cases, they could be insured with one of our plans, but only if their home country or their country of residence is not the US. So basically, they can be US citizens, but if their country of residence is not the US, they will be eligible for one of our travel plans, which will be the Patriot Travel that we mentioned.
Their country of residence needs to be elsewhere. So AKA they cannot be US citizens growing up in the US and then trying to buy this travel plan. It would be a scenario like maybe they're a US citizen, maybe they're also a French citizen, and they're in France the majority of the time. They call France home, but they're just coming to the US for a short period of time, that sort of thing. With a baby that's born, so maybe a J1 and a J2 visa holder have a baby here in the United States, that's not going to qualify at all for the Patriot Travel Plan because that baby was born here, lives here, resides here, and so they therefore wouldn't be eligible, that they would have to find some alternative option for domestic. We've talked a little bit about our travel plans, major medical plans. What are the differences between the various plans that we offer for dependents?
We have several options for dependents. For example, they could also be eligible for our student plans as long as the J1 or the F1 visa holder is the main policy holder. In those cases, they will be able to include their dependents on their policy. So that would also be a good option, of course, depending on the type of benefits they're looking for. The travel plans are a lot more flexible in the sense that the dependents can purchase the policy on their own. So maybe the J1 or the F1 visa holder, they already have an insurance plan and they just need coverage for their dependents. In those cases, a travel plan would be a really good option because they can purchase the policy on their own. We also have the major medical plans, as you said. These ones, we normally recommend these options when the person is looking for the most comprehensive plan. Maybe they need coverage for maternity, or maybe they have a pre-existing condition that needs to be covered right away, or they are just looking for the most comprehensive plan. So in those cases, we could also recommend a major medical plan. And just to highlight a few differences, we could say that a student plan is tailored to international students and also scholars. They will get benefits such as mental health. They can also include coverage for school sanctioned sports. And normally those plans also include coverage for maternity. And those benefits are normally not found on travel plans. Let's say that travel plans are mainly designed to cover new eligible illnesses and injuries, but they wouldn't offer benefits such as mental health, for example. And a major medical plan, it will be a lot more comprehensive. They could have basically all of the benefits that I mentioned, and they could also be eligible to purchase those plans on their own without having the J1 visa holder being the main policy.
The major medical plan sounds like a great option, but I do want to mention, and you'll probably agree, it comes with a hefty price tag. Dependents will want to examine their options and look at the prices, because the prices really do reflect the benefits, right, of what you're getting in terms of coverage.
Yes, that is correct. So in other words, the most comprehensive the plan, the more expensive it will be. So it is important to compare the prices, but also if they are not sure what is the best option for them, they are more than welcome to contact our customer service team for a personalized recommendation.
Last question. So I know that we've been talking about dependents coming to the United States. Do we offer anything, or what's out there for dependents going elsewhere? Maybe US citizens going abroad or a Mexican citizen going to Spain, for example. Do we offer anything like that, or what's available?
We certainly have a plan for anyone out there. Now, for dependents going abroad, we normally recommend travel plans. As I was telling you before, these plans are very flexible. Basically, they work for everyone outside of their home country or their country of residence. And also, these plans allow the flexibility to choose the levels or the amount of coverage that they need. So that will allow them to purchase the exact coverage they need. Now, these plans are mainly designed to cover also medical expenses, such as hospitalizations or doctor's visits and prescription drugs, but they also come with some travel benefits, just to mention a couple: coverage for travel delay or lost luggage. So that, those are extra benefits that they can also get with these plans. And as mentioned, they work for basically everyone outside of their country of residence or home country. So these are great options. Now, depending on the case, a major medical plan might also be available for dependents going abroad. In this case, as mentioned before, it will really depend on the case. It will really depend on the type of benefits and coverage they would like to have. But those options are also there for anyone that is eligible for the plan.
Thank you so much once again for sharing all of your insight. And as Antonio mentioned previously, you can always contact our customer service team with any questions, or if you need guidance on what plan might be best for you, they can help you compare coverage and figure out what would be best for your situation. So thank you so much again, Antonio.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Bye, everyone, and we will see you all next time.